When you talk about the best MCs in anime, the conversation never really sways in the same direction. Being the best is very subjective and really is up to the person you're asking. But there are definitely for sure some MCs who are way too underrated. And when it comes to shonen anime, main characters like Goku, Naruto, and Luffy dominate these conversations. But there's one hero in training who doesn't always get the credit he deserves: Izuki Midoriya, better known as Deku. Some may call him soft, emotional, and even predictable. What if I told you that Deku's journey, personality, and growth make him one of the most underrated protagonists in modern anime? Well, in this video, we're diving deep into why Deku deserves way more respect than he gets. So let's break down the layers of the new symbol of peace. The number one trait that separates Deku from other shonen protagonists is his emotional range. The other main characters are not very in tune with the emotions of others, or for better terming, they lack the emotional intelligence Deku has. Unlike the stoic or overly confident heroes we often see, Deku isn't afraid to show his vulnerability. He cries, he doubts himself, and he's constantly reflecting on his own actions. While there are other MCs who show emotional vulnerability, none of them do it on the level of Deku. Tanjiro and Yuji are the only two protagonists that come to mind to show full vulnerability, but there's still not much depth behind it. Both typically show this side of them after an event that made it unfold. Deku's emotional honesty makes him incredibly relatable to viewers who have similar experiences or struggles, because they actually happen within real life situations. Most people aren't going to have their entire family slaughtered by a demon or a cursed spirit kill people on your behalf, but they will have insecurities and self-doubt, which leads to confusion in character. A great example of this is when Midoriya is told by All Might that All For One is destroying his body and he needs to stop using it so recklessly. After hearing this, instead of going the stoic hero route, they choose to have him confess his worries and not being able to live up to All Might's legacy, showcasing his struggles of self-doubt and the immense pressure it puts on himself. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't watch for realism in it, and neither does majority of the audience. But if you add a sense of reality through a character that is relatable, then it makes it much more worth the watch. Now, while some fans see this as a weakness, they're actually a strength because it highlights his empathy and emotional intelligence for others. It brings the element of relatability that the audience can really appreciate. Another aspect of Deku that's overlooked is his growth through hard work. He embodies a classic shonen theme of hard work overcoming adversity, but his journey is kind of feels grounded. Because he was gifted All For One, it seems like as if he had an easy path for strength. But Midoriya was just a weak, nerdy teenager who needed to train his body to its maximum peak in order to obtain that power. He's born with no quirk in a world where superpowers define an individual's value, and he worked tirelessly to get his spot in UA. And him being gifted a power shouldn't really be a reason he's disregarded, because there is no one in this verse without a quirk who is regarded as strong, except for these new mech suits. Obviously, that's a one-off case, but Deku's rise really does make it feel earned. Every step, every bruise, every broken bone, and every failure is a testament to his never-ending determination. Watching him grow was incredibly satisfying because his progress directly mirrored real-life perseverance. Deku isn't just strong, he's also a thinker. From his introduction, he used his strategic mind to fully analyze his opponents to find the best way to win fights. Not only did he study his opponents, he made sure to study his comrades as well, to learn how to fully utilize their strengths. His notebook full of observations showcases just how much he was obsessed with learning new information. And that analytical mindset is what adds a unique layer to his character, making him a bigger powerhouse. Because the typical MC rushes in and learns as the fight goes on, and that's fine too, but it's something Deku tried not to do. His fights often came from outsmarting his opponents rather than using just brute force. Like during Season 1 training sessions, instead of relying on raw strength, he used the environment around him and Bakugo's emotional instability to create an opening for his teammates. And even when he was cornered, Deku used a calculated all-for-one punch to create a shockwave that allowed Uraraka to get closer to their objective. This mindset allowed him to stay calm and focus on the bigger picture rather than putting his teammates or his objective at risk. Deku's most underrated quality, though, might be his empathy. He doesn't just want to defeat villains, he wants to understand them. To him, villains aren't just bad guys, they're people with stories, pain, and motivations. With Shigaraki, Deku's seen what All For One was doing with him and knew this wasn't just a villain, it was a kid who needed saving. His ability to connect with others, including opposing sides, makes him a true heroic figure. This aspect pushes the narrative beyond the basic good versus evil and transforms it into a more morally complex middle ground, which is rare for shonen protagonists. He did this with the gentle criminal as well. From what felt like a filler episode, Deku got deep and understood why he did what he did, causing the audience, like myself, to question, was he really wrong? And that's what truly understanding a villain looks like, making him feel relatable in a sense. When you talk about legacies and individuality, Midoriya definitely struggled. As a successor to All Might, he carries immense pressure to live up to the greatest hero ever. And despite that, he doesn't try to emulate All Might. Instead, he strives to become his own kind of hero. His struggles with imposter syndrome and his journey to forge his own path, while still respecting his mentor's legacy, creates a compelling internal conflict. Trying to balance between honoring tradition and carving out his own identity adds a level of nuance to his character, because he's failing and realizing that All Might may have prevailed, and that takes a toll on his mental. I mean, look at when he left UA and became a vigilante. He didn't sleep, eat, or rest. That's a product of having overwhelming stress levels and a constant weight of responsibility on your shoulders. This is just a teenager carrying this burden alone, out of the fear of getting others hurt. This arc really displayed his selflessness. I know I've covered this already, but I want to reiterate that Deku's realism really makes him great. He isn't perfect, and that's what makes his character so good. He pushes himself hard, and sometimes to the point of self-destruction. He's hesitant and overthinks situations even when he should be confident. These flows make him human and realistic. Unlike some MCs who seem to always have the answers, Deku's mistakes remind you that growth comes from failure, not perfection. It's his flaws that make his victories feel earned and not inevitable. Heroism isn't just about saving the day, it's about giving inspiration to others. Deku did just that with his classmates, teachers, and even rivals. They're motivated by his relentlessness, determination, and selflessness. Take Bakugo for instance. He resented Deku for so long, and it was his inspiration that kept Bakugo going. Knowing that they were both striving to be the best, yet Deku always seemed to be 2 steps ahead. It gave Bakugo the push he needed to truly come to self-realization. Deku's journey shows that being a hero isn't just about strength, it's about lifting others up and inspiring them to be better. This ripple effect of his character makes him a true symbol of peace. And Deku may not have been the most likable character of the Shonen protagonists, but that's what makes him stand out. His emotional depth, strategic thinking, and unwavering empathy create a multi-dimensional character who deserves more recognition. He's far from being predictable or weak. It was honestly so refreshing to get such a nuanced take on what it means to be a hero.